And hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the show. Hopefully you guys had a great Monday and a great weekend. I was really enjoying that music there playing. I really like that one. I think I'm gonna have to download that onto my phone so I can take it with me. Well, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to the show. If you are new to the show, I'm Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E, and the E stands for endocrinology. And here on this channel, I help to encourage you, I help to empower you, and to educate you so that you can take charge of your health, avoid complications, and live a healthy, fulfilling life. Tonight, we're talking about dieting. What do you need to know before you start your next diet? That's the topic we're going to be talking about tonight. And I've got a special guest with me. You guys have seen the flyers. You've probably seen it out there. I'm going to talk about her here in a little bit, but not quite yet. We're going to bring her up, and then we're going to give her a chance to say hello and introduce herself to you. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and put new in the comments, because we would love to welcome you to the channel, to welcome you to the neighborhood. We love this community that we are growing, and we want to make you feel welcome. And if you have questions as we get throughout the night, make sure you put those in the comments, and put a Q in front of the question so that I know that that's a question that we'll need to get to as we see the discussion there. And I encourage you, if you're out there, go ahead and interact with the people that are there. We've got a very nice community that we have that's growing. And the question that I want you to answer, yes or no, have you ever been on a diet? That's the question for tonight. Have you ever been on a diet? And I want you to put in the comments yes or no. Let's see who we have out there. I saw Maria. Hello, Maria. She's saying, hey, everybody. Woohoo. I'm excited about the topic. She said she needs those tips. Glad that you are there. If you are also here, go ahead and send this link to your family members, to your friends, anyone that you think would benefit from it. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and let them know that we are live tonight, because we've got a great show that we're going to be going through. You see, as always, I have a T-shirt on tonight, and let me see if I can. No, I can't get you. Let me move this out of the way. That's right. So we were on spring break last week, and the Oakwood Adventist Academy junior varsity and varsity teams actually went to Memphis to see the Grizzlies play the Milwaukee Bucks. And so we were there, and we were actually on vacation as well. So on spring break. And so we decided that we were going to go and hang out with them, and we saw the game. It was awesome. I loved it. We even though we were in some high seats, we saw the entire floor, took some good pictures. We were able to get down and take some pictures with the team on the floor, with our team, not the Grizzlies, on the floor. So if you take a look at our Instagram page, and actually on our Facebook as well, you'll see a video and some pictures that we posted there, and we'll have some others that we'll do. But anyway, so shout out to the Memphis Grizzlies. They won the game, and they are, they're kind of our team, close to where we are. So anyway, so we're glad that we were able to get there, and we saw some friends as well. So we're talking tonight about weight And we're talking about dieting in particular. And if you saw some of the things that we put out on the social media, you saw that about 42%, over 42% of the people in the United States are considered overweight or obese. And at any particular time, over 17% of people are on diets. And that was a question that we had. Have you ever been on a diet? And so tonight, what we want to talk about is with all the things that are going on, right? What do we want to do? What do we want to do? What do we need to know before we start the next diet, right? Because it's the new year. It's March. A lot of people made New Year's resolutions at the end of last year. They went out, they got gym memberships, they bought ellipticals and treadmills and medicine balls and all these things. And we're about 3 months in. And so the question is, what's going on with all of those? So we're going to talk a little bit tonight about that. And to help us with that discussion, I have a very special guest who is joining us tonight. And that is my beautiful wife, Dr. Charmaine Wood from Charmaine Wood, MD, Weight Loss Coaching. So let's go ahead and let's bring her up. Charmaine, welcome tonight.
Thank you. It's good to be back. I always enjoy these conversations that we have. And I believe tonight is going to be another great time. So thanks for having me.
All right. And I think I had your mic off there.
Oh.
So say hi again.
Okay.
That's my fault, guys. That was my fault. There you go.
Well, I was saying hi and just it's good to be back. It's fun for me to come and spend some time with you and your audience. We always have great conversations. And I think this one tonight is going to be no different. And like you said, there's so much out there about diets. And we're going to try and tackle that topic tonight from a high level. We're going to try to stay out of the weeds, but we're just going to tackle it from a high level and hopefully share some valuable information that the audience, that this community can use so that ultimately they're successful in their weight loss journey. So that's the point of the discussion tonight.
All right. Well, I'm so glad. So why don't you, Charmaine, take a minute, and you've been here several times. And so we're always excited when you're here. Why don't you take a minute and tell us who you are, what do you do, and just share that with our viewers tonight.
Okay. Well, like you said, I'm your wife. I'm Dr. Charmaine Wood, and I am a pediatrician by training, but I like to say that my training is in pediatrics, but my passion is weight loss. So I'm honored to support people who want to transform their lives by becoming healthier, and part of that journey includes losing weight. I encourage people to prioritize themselves so that they can take the steps they need to ultimately accomplish their weight loss goals.
Awesome. Well, we're glad that you are doing that, because there are so many people, like we've said, who need help. And so to have your service available, that's a wonderful thing. So, all right. So why don't we just jump in? So what do we need to know? What do you need to know? What do people need to know before they start their next diet? And I looked up a couple of statistics, and it turns out that the average person goes through 2 to 3 diets per year. And people are able to lose weight, but one of the challenges, one of the opportunities for improvement is to keep the weight off. Okay. So as we get into this discussion, there are a couple of things that we want to talk about. Why don't we first kind of define what are we talking about when we talk about a diet?
So I tend to think of diets as temporary things. And I thought the topic was really neat tonight, is the things that you need to know before you start your next diet. But ultimately, I don't recommend starting a diet, right? If diets are temporary, then ultimately you're going to revert to your old habits. And as we've discussed in the past, when you want to start good habits, you want to start them in a way that's going to be sustainable. So I like for people to think of the changes, the transformation that they want to embark on as far as weight loss is concerned, as more of a lifestyle change or lifestyle modification. So I tell my clients that I actually think diet is a little bit of a bad word. And if they ever hear me say it, it's a slip of the tongue. I don't intend to, because I don't promote diets, but there's so many different, and I'll say, quote unquote, diets out there. We can go through the long laundry list of diets, and I've been on diets before, right? I'm sure a lot of the audience has, but ultimately, even though diets work, right, because you do lose weight, ultimately they fail because it's temporary. And what I say to my clients is, whatever you do to lose weight, you have to continue doing that to keep it off. And unfortunately, too many of us, we set a weight loss goal, and as soon as we see that number on the scale, right, it's like a switch flips off, right? And we start celebrating, wow, we've hit our goal, and so now it's time to celebrate. And for too many of us, that means just going back to what we were doing before. So subsequently, the weight comes back on. You regain the weight, and too often you regain it, and like they say, it comes back with friends, right? So you may lose 10 pounds, but you gain 15 back. And so that cycle, that vicious cycle, sets in, and it's like a roller coaster, right? Or, some people talk about it being a hamster wheel, where there's just this constant dieting and stopping, starting and stopping, dieting, and then just, going back. And it's a vicious cycle that's actually harmful.
Wow. So this whole process can be, I think, a little confusing for people, because as they're going through the year, they're being told, hey, you need to get healthier, whether it's because they have diabetes, they have high blood pressure, they have some heart disease. So there's all this stuff, and they really kind of jump into things, right? So they hear, the cousin is on the Mediterranean, this one is on the low carb, that one is on keto diet. And so our goal really is to kind of say to people, yes, we know that all of these health benefits come from being healthy, but we're looking for long-term benefits, not just 2-3 months down the road.
Exactly. So what I, encourage my clients to do is to think of this as a journey, right? And it's a journey that, it starts at one point and you go step by step by step. And there's no timeline. There's no rush, right? We put a lot of pressure on ourselves when we start a quote unquote diet, and we've got an end date, we've got to lose weight in 6 weeks, and that's a lot of pressure. And we may be able to get motivated, stay motivated for a specific period of time, but after a while the motivation wanes, and then we start kind of regressing, and any new behaviors that we started to institute, any new habits that we start to form, then we regress, and those habits really haven't taken hold. And so we don't see those permanent results that people want. No one wants to lose weight only to gain it back, unless you're an actor or something and you're doing, a special movie role that requires that. But most people who lose weight, they want to keep it off.
Okay. So really the first kind of pillar of what you need to know before you start your next diet is really to not diet.
Exactly. Stop dieting. Just stop. Just stop it.
There's this, you say that this Bob Newhart episode that I remember where someone comes in and he's giving them some advice, and that was his, just stop it. Just stop.
Yeah, just stop. I don't know if many people remember who Bob Newhart is.
Oh, am I?
You might be dating yourself just a little bit.
Oh, I guess. Okay. If you guys know who Bob Newhart is, then go ahead and put that. Say yes, please. Somebody.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Put it in the chat if you know who Bob Newhart is.
Put that. Just say yes.
And I'll give you guys a hint. Bob Newhart is the actor who played the role, right? So he had a show named after himself.
Bob Newhart.
Bob Newhart show.
So stop dieting and make lifestyle changes.
Yes. So, I mentioned that the dieting is actually, it's potentially dangerous because it's for a couple of reasons, right? So your physical body suffers. There's stress involved. So if you're yo-yo dieting, then that's stressful on your body, right? And particularly because when you diet, a lot of times you're losing muscle mass. And when you stop dieting and the weight comes back on, a lot of times you're gaining fat, right? And that's why that's why the weight comes back on so quickly, because it's easy to put the fat back on once you've suffered loss in your muscle mass. So that's an important thing to know, right? That your body composition actually shifts when you yo-yo diet, and it shifts in a way that's not helpful to sustaining a healthy weight loss. So the stress on your body, and also the mental stress that occurs, the loss of confidence, the sense of repeated failures, that takes a toll on your mind and your resolve, and ultimately your confidence.
Wow. Whew. So changing our idea of dieting and really coming and say, okay, we need a lifestyle shift. We need a lifestyle change. We need to stop the yo-yoing, because first of all, it's not working. And then it can have actually some significant health ramifications. So as someone right now, because there's somebody right now who's watching, who's going to be watching on the replay, and they have been on that roller coaster. They're probably on a diet right now, and it's March, and they've not seen a result, or they've seen some results, and they're getting tired. How do they get off of that? You said stop it, and we'll talk about some other things here in a minute, but how do they begin working on that?
Well, I think it's important for them to have a shift in their mindset surrounding what it's going to take to lose the weight and to keep it off, right? Understanding that this is a journey, right? And that the results take time. I mentioned not having such a sense of urgency about it. When you have a sense of urgency, you're in resistance. And anytime you're in a state of resistance, things feel harder, right? They feel more difficult. And so the weight does not come off, right? When you're in a state of resistance, at least it doesn't come off in a way that's sustainable. You've got to grow your patience muscle and your resilience muscle, right? Understanding that that if you've been yo-yo dieting for a long time, say for decades, right? Many of us who struggle with weight have been in that struggle for quite some time. and you've learned habits that you practice on a daily basis that support your current state. And so part of what you have to do is, and this goes back to our habit discussion, is learn new habits. So replace some of those habits that don't serve you. Replace those with habits that do serve your end goal, do serve your desires or the life that you want to create. And so it's going to take some time to build those habits and for those habits to stick. Right. So I suggest committing to making those changes at least over a 90-day period. It may take you longer to get to your goal, but at least commit for 90 days that, okay, this is something I am going to commit to, and I'm going to commit to making these small incremental changes until I see results. Remember, small shifts, right? Daily shifts in your behavior, small shifts in your behavior lead to those long-lasting results.
Wow. And this really kind of goes back to some of the things that we've talked about and we've been doing this series, these lifestyle series, routines, self-care, all those things. So this is a good place to maybe talk about this idea of self-care, right? Because why do we want to make these changes in our lives, right? There may be people around us that have said to us, hey, this, you've done this 3-4 times now. I mean, why do you keep working on this diet? Why do you keep trying to do this? Why, so there's all this noise. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, so you mentioned the self-care, and in my introduction, I said I help people prioritize themselves, right? So too often, for many of us, we've grown accustomed to taking care of other people, right? And we put ourselves on the back burner. We put ourselves last. I know as a mom and wife, that's been my experience, right? It's like and also as a physician, it's like I've been conditioned to give and give, to put others first, and then I get whatever's left over. Well, that really does not lead to me feeling that I'm my best self or me being my best self, because I'm not giving from a space of how should I say, of true desire. I'm not giving from a space of power. Sometimes we fall into the martyr role or the victim role where we're doing things just because they're expected of us, right? We're not truly doing them because that's how we want to show up, or that's how we want to serve our family or our community. We feel we're giving out of a sense of obligation. And when you're doing that over time, that can, you can become resentful. And so I help people prioritize themselves and set aside a lot of those expectations that have been placed on them and that they have placed on themselves, so that they can then take the steps. They then have the energy to take the steps that's necessary to lose the weight, to do the things that are required for them to lose the weight, to take those small steps that over time are going to compound so that they'll actually see the results they're looking for.
So prioritizing themselves because they're worth it. Right? Exactly. Now that is, this whole prioritization of self, that is something that we struggle with so much. There are 1,440 minutes in a day. 1,440 minutes in a day. And aside from sleeping, most of us give all of that away to someone else. There are people that are out there who they've never, well, I shouldn't say never, but they rarely call out on their jobs because they've got to be there. they're sick, they don't feel well, something else is going on, but they go to work and they are there because they're professional. They want to make sure that everyone knows that they are a professional person, that can be counted on. But we call out on ourselves so much. We put ourselves on the back burner. There are things that we need to do for our health that we don't do. And so it is so important that we begin saying, yeah, I am worth it. And that is probably the second pillar, right? So 1, stop dieting. Number 2, know that you're worth it.
Yes. So know that you're worth it. You're an individual with unique gifts and talents, right? You're the only version of you, right? Don't try to be anyone else because they're taken. So just be you, right? And understanding that you're the asset. You're the asset in your life. So you're worth the investment. And that's the investment of resources, whether that's time, whether that's money, whether it's your energy, you're worth it. So even the sacrifices that you have to make to accomplish this goal, that's worth it too, right? So, I want people to understand that, yes, you'll have to commit finances, you'll have to commit time, but you'll also have to make some sacrifices. And maybe the sacrifices looks like not having everyone's approval for what you're trying to do, right? You have to understand that people are going to have an opinion, right? You have opinions, they have opinions too. And I would say just let them, period. Let them have their opinions. And while letting them have their opinion, understand that other people's opinion of you are none of your business. Should I say that again?
Oh, I got to come back on the screen for that one. So say that one again for me.
Other people's opinion of you are none of your business.
Ooh. That's hard for a lot of people.
Oh, there's no question. There's no question. We were having a conversation about people pleasing recently, right?
Yeah.
And, once again, it's one of those things where it becomes ingrained in us. We're attracted to our professions because we want to help people. As physicians, we want to help. And there's a big element of people pleasing in that, in who we are and what we do. And so it's hard to put people's opinions aside. It's hard to go against the norm. It's hard to go against, someone, whether it's your friend or relative or even your significant other, if they have an opinion of what you should look like, right? And you start perhaps making some changes and they question the changes that you want to make. But you have to know that you're doing this because this is what you desire. And you just have to let them have their opinion, but you be more resolute in your opinion because your opinion of you matters the most.
Ooh, I think I'm going to use that one. So other people's opinions of you are none of your business. Wow. Write that one down for me, Maria. Let's let's do that. Okay, so we're changing the mindset. So we are halting the yo-yo, right? Mm-hmm. We're halting the yo-yo dieting. We're halting dieting. We're making lifestyle changes. And there are so many different ways, so many different things that we can do in terms of doing that. And we'll probably have to come back and do another show on some of those. And now we are saying, I am important. I am worth the investment of time and energy. I'm worth the investment of making changes in my life. And so now there's a lot of stuff. let me talk personally. There's so much stuff, so much noise, so much stuff goes on in my head that interferes, right? So I like, we moved into the sunroom, we moved the elliptical. So last night my plan was to get on the elliptical, right? And then I started doing some other stuff. I said, oh, it's too late. I'll do that tomorrow. Okay. And how do we go about first organizing? What do we do?
So I would say the first thing is to understand why you want to do this. Because when things get difficult, and they will, when there's so much noise, there's so many distractions, it's important for you to understand why you're doing this. Why is this important? And there's an exercise that I walk my clients through. It's called Let's Go Deep. And in this exercise, I ask them, it's very repetitive, but I ask them why they want to make the changes to their health. And when they give me a response, I ask them, why is that important? And we just keep going and going and going. And by the time we get down 7 repetitions, what their response is at the end, it's so much deeper than where we started, because we start with surface reasons, right? So it may be that, oh, I wanna look good, right? Or I wanna feel better. But it ends up being things that are really are really deep, right? Things that have to do with how we felt about ourselves for a long time, how we feel about our self-worth, how we feel about the legacy we want to leave, how we feel about being able to take care of ourselves and not having to depend on other people to take care of us as we age. It has to do with living longer, but having a quality of life where you can enjoy your longevity. So it's an exercise that a lot of times people get very emotional because they're tapping into those deep reasons, those deep-rooted reasons that aren't always at the surface. So I would say start by knowing your why. So before you start your next diet, just stop dieting, right? So don't start a diet. Start a lifestyle change, right? Understand your worth. So know that you're worth the investment. Know your why. And then the next thing I would say is understand that your environment matters, right? And the environment has a lot to do with not just what things look like on the outside, but what things are like on the inside. So your internal environment, and this is so critical, right? So when you believe and plan for your success, you can achieve it. But you've got to make sure that your environment supports your desires and supports the results you want to create. So pay attention to what you're telling yourself. Be an observer of your thoughts. If you have a lot of negative self-talk, you want to reframe that. So you want to replace that with positive ones. Too many of us, because we've failed at this dieting thing or this weight loss thing many times, we start believing that it's just not possible for us. But I would say that if you've lost weight in the past, right? You've lost weight multiple times. That's what the yo-yo is about. You have proof that you can actually lose weight. So the question is not whether or not you can lose weight, right? The issue more so is that you have not learned yet, and I emphasize the word yet, to maintain the weight. So you can lose weight, but you haven't learned yet to maintain it. So the environment plays a key role. So that's your internal environment and also your external environment.
Wow. Okay. So we've got to clean up our environment. It sounds like. All right. Well, let's take a quick break here and let's see who we have out there. So I saw Anthony. Anthony's answering the question. He says, "Yes, I do remember." Thank you, Anthony. You're my man. Right. So that I'm not that old. Thank you. So Anthony said, "I do remember Bob." And welcome, Anthony. Welcome to you tonight. Let me pop that on the screen real quick. He said, "I do remember Bob." Let's see who else is there. Cedar Roscoe says, "Hello, Dr. Wood. What's up? How are you?" And he says, I remember Bob too. So that's two. Okay. I love it, guys. Thank you so much for coming through for me. You're my people. All right. And then of course, Maria is saying hello. And hello. She says, "I like that." Yes, there you go, Maria. Thank you. So other people's opinion of you are none of your business. Period. Love it. Let's see. So Cedar says yes. And then she says, Kenya said hello. All right. Hello to all of you guys. Also, this is a good point for us to say, guys, if you have not already done so, please check us out on all of our social media platforms. We've got LinkedIn, TikTok, of course, here on YouTube for our show on Mondays, Twitter, and then Buy Me a Coffee. If you would like to see more of our exciting content, please join us every Monday live here on the show. Our TikTok that is out on Fridays, and then on every morning at 9 o'clock ish, our Twitter comes out, because sometimes I put it out early. I'm up late, so I just say, "Hey, the day has already started. Let's get it out there." So I love that. And then you guys were here when we launched our coaching program. So educating, empowering, and encouraging. If you need help to get unstuck, right? That's what we want to do. If you need help to get unstuck. So people who are needing assistance with diabetes in terms of coaching, and sometimes it's not necessarily a diabetic issue. There's some other things that are going on. And coaching, guys, really is identifying thought processes, mindsets that are hindering us from achieving our goals, right? So that's what coaching is. And that's what coaching does. And so whether it's diabetes or whether it's life coaching, we would love to help with that as well. And then, we have Dr. Charmaine Wood with us. And so several weeks ago, a couple of months ago, actually, we launched her coaching program, weight loss coaching for women who want to live longer and be healthier. So you can go to the website, CharmaineWoodMD.com, and go ahead and wave there, Charmaine. And you guys can sign up for that service as well. So Dwayne Wood MD, coaching, diabetes, and life coaching, and then Charmaine Wood MD, scheduling weight loss coaching for women. Well, Charmaine, so we've talked about two pillars, right? So stop dieting. We've talked about the fact that we are worth it, so we're well worth the investment. And then we just talked a little bit about cleaning up, right? So cleaning up our environment. Mm-hmm. It sounds like a lot of what we're discussing is really a shift in thought process. And the thought process is what is giving us the result. What do you think of that?
Oh, definitely. So, as I mentioned, working on what's in your mind, what the thoughts you're thinking are going to create your results. So if you're focusing on your past failures, that is what you're going to recreate. And what I encourage my clients to do is not to focus on their failure and not to see those past experiences as failures, right? So when you experience something, you either, people say if you're learning, then you're not failing. So when you experience something, you gain a lot of wisdom. Even if you didn't quite get the results you were looking for, you gain wisdom from that. And I have my clients tap into the wisdom that they gained. When they've lost weight in the past, something worked, right? So it wasn't all bad. So it's seeing what worked then and what you can apply in your current situation. What works. So you learned either what worked or what didn't work. So if it didn't work, you're not going to keep doing it. But if what worked, you want to reach back and just grab that wisdom that we have inside of us, right? When we experience something, we gain wisdom. So that's one of the things I help them to see, right? And, it's important that your external environment is cleaned up as well. So look around you and see what food you have that's easily accessible to you. If it's going to take you in the direction that you want to go, then you want to have more of those foods. If it's going to lead you down the path that you're trying to get away from, then you want less of those foods around. So I have my clients go through their freezer, go through their pantry. For some of us, it's hard to throw away things, right? But just think about keeping it around and what that's going to do ultimately. It's possible that you end up just sabotaging yourself by keeping it around just because you don't want to throw it away. So for people who have an issue with throwing away food, I say, okay, well, find someone and just give it away. That way you don't feel like you've wasted money, but at least it's not there right in front of you when you open the pantry. You see the big bag of chips or whatever, whatever it is. For me, it was cashews and other things that I needed, to get rid of until I could get to the point where I could look at the cashews and, it didn't automatically mean that, okay, I had to indulge or I had to eat some. So we talked about other people and their opinion not being any of your business, right? I want you to be careful. We're still talking about cleaning up your environment. So if there are people who are not supportive of this journey of yours, you want to make sure that you limit your conversation about this journey with them, right? So if they're not supportive, stop talking to them about what you're trying to do. It's really none of their business.
Ooh, I love that. Oh, wow. So their opinions of me is none of my business. And my journey, if they're not supportive, is none of their business.
True.
Wow. I love that.
That kind of slipped out, but it is.
But that's okay. We like it. That's why we do it live. It's just raw and uncut.
But it is true. And so you do need people who are going to be supportive, right? Because we do much better when we're in a community of like-minded individuals. So find some new people to discuss your weight loss journey with, right? Just find some new people, lots of different groups, lots of different programs. One of the things I enjoyed about my group coaching program was that there were women there who supported each other, and they enjoyed being able to share their experiences, share different tips, and just know that they were in a safe space where there were people who understood exactly the challenges that they were experiencing because they were all going through the same thing.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. We we joke about none of their business, but you're right. It is so important to have people around you. Often when there are life changes that need to happen, it's good to have that system around you, that structure, those people that you could turn to, that you could lean on. Even if, to say, add a boy, add a girl, give you a hug, give you a kiss, give you a smile. So important to have those folks around us because sometimes we can't do it alone.
No. I don't think we were designed to do anything alone. There's a saying, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you want to go with someone else.
Ooh, you're just full of stuff tonight. Ooh, give me goosebump. Yeah, I want to go far.
Yeah.
I love this going deep, that exercise that you talked about. And as I'm thinking about it, a lot of what we've talked about really can be applied to so many areas of our lives.
Well, that is one of the beautiful things about this journey that we're on, right? The skills that we learn in the weight loss journey, right, can be applied to so many different areas. And that's something I hear all the time. Well, this was so much more than just about losing weight. I've been able to make these changes in this area and this other area of my life, and it's been transformative. And that's why we talk about this transformation.
Wow. Beautiful. Well, guys, let's take a break and let's go to our thought of the day. All right. And our quote for tonight for our thought comes from George Eliot. And he says, "It's never too late to be what you might have been." Ooh, it's never too late to be what you might have been. And this comes in line with what we're talking about, because there are often times when we have moved down the road, we have passed what we think is one of those milestones, one of those opportunities that we had to improve ourselves, to grow, to develop in whatever area it is. And so we're down the road now and we look back and says, "Oh, I wish I had done that. I wish I had the opportunity. I wish I had taken advantage of that opportunity." But you know what? It's never too late to be now what you might have been. So that means that right now you can begin taking steps to become what it is you thought that you wanted to be back then. So whether that is going to school, getting a degree, whether we're talking about weight management, weight loss, diabetes, managing chronic illnesses, chronic diseases, developing a better relationship with friends, with family, in your marriages, whatever that is, it's never too late to be what you might have been. Because as long as you are able to breathe, as long as you're able to move, as long as you're able to think, as long as you're able to feel, then the opportunity is there for you right now to begin putting those things in place, taking the steps that you need to be what you might have been. So don't look back in regret. Don't look back and say, "Oh, that's gone." Don't look back and say, "Oh, I wish I had." Why don't you start right now? Why don't we start looking into the future to say, "Hey, I thought I could have done that back then." Guess what? You can do it right now. So you can be that. It's never too late to be what you might have been. That's our thought for tonight. All right. Well, Charmaine, I am so excited. This has been a great conversation. We are going to see if we have some questions, and I know we had some that came in that we curated earlier. So let's take a look. Let's see. Easy Rider 101 says, well, let's back up for a minute. Let's see. Coaching. So Maria was just putting some Let's change to this one. So coaching program, Dr. Charmaine Wood coaching program. Just catching up on the comments here. Lenita Reed says, yes, yes, yes. Lenita, that's how I felt as I was listening to all of the things that she was saying, right? I was like, yes, yes, let me write that one down. Oh, I like that one. Oh, I'm going to use that one. So yes, 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 Lenita, thank you. You are echoing what's going on in my mind. And then, so guys, if you want to connect on social media, I put the bio link down there. So bio.link/Dwayne Wood MD. Actually, take the .com off. So bio.link/Dwayne Wood MD, and you'll see all the social media platforms there. There'll be a link where you could sign up for coaching in that app as well. And so, good evening, Lenita, from Maria. And then let's see. Easy says, "Wow, that's so true. There's no point in trying to win someone over who just can't see the path you've moved onto." Wow. So true, Easy Rider. I love that summary that you gave there. And then of course Maria saying hello. All right, so let's see. Let's get this one off and let's take a look at some questions. Now these questions, I think some of them were specific to dieting. How would I know if a diet, I'm assuming, is the right one for me? How do I know if a diet is the right one for me?
Well, that's a great question because there's so much out there, right? Everyone who has created a diet believes that their diet is the correct one, and that's the one you should be on. Remember, I said I'm not a proponent of diets. I'm more of a proponent of lifestyle changes. That being said, if you still want to look at a quote unquote diet, just know that there's no magic diet, right? If you are pursuing a diet, they all work. But ultimately, if that's all you're pursuing, they all fail because they're temporary. Right? So there's no magic diet. I would say if you're pursuing a diet, then the right diet for you is the one that works, and it's the one that you can stick with.
Wow. And so really the diet that works is the one that works into your world and the one you can stick with. Because if you can't stick with it, then it doesn't work. All right. Here's another question. How many times a day should I be eating? Wow.
I don't have a specific answer for that. I think there are people who eat twice a day. Once again, it's you have to base it on your own needs. There's no one size fits all. Base it on your individual needs. So some people are fine with eating 2 meals a day. Some people prefer the approach where they're eating a small meal every couple of hours. So it's going to vary. So there's no set answer.
All right, good. Love that. All right. Does time of day matter when it comes to eating?
I would say yes. I would also be curious about getting some more detail about that question. If you're saying, do I have to eat at 8, 12, and 6 o'clock? Do you have to eat on that schedule? Then the answer is no. And that's how I'm going to interpret the question. So there's no one size fits all. You eat when you're hungry, when your body signals that you're hungry. And of course, you want to follow some common sense things. You don't want to eat too close to bedtime, but there's no specific time that you need to eat once you wake up in the morning. When you break your fast is whenever you break your fast. But I would be careful about eating too close to bedtime.
Okay, good. And I mean, sleep also affects eating, and I mean, there's so many different things that go into that. We did a show a couple weeks ago on sleeping, so if you have not done so, go back and take a look at that show as well. All right, let's see. What's one food item or ingredient you advise people to avoid?
Oh, you're going to get me in trouble, whoever's asking that question. I would have to say sugar.
Ah, okay. So say a little bit more. Don't just say sugar.
Well, so I'm actually gonna punt this one to you. So I'm gonna say sugar, and then I'm gonna let you share the whys and the wherefores.
Well, we have. Well, let me say it this way. So one of the things that happens in our bodies is that we are, because of how we live in our society, we are putting too much fuel into the system. Let me say that again. So we're putting too much fuel in the system, and most of the fuel that we put in, the things that we like to eat, the things that we crave, are those things that are high in sugar. And it would be so simple, much simpler for us to survive, for our bodies to function on a very basic, simple meal. But because of the refined sugars, the refined foods, the high density foods that we're eating, that is what's causing a lot of the trouble that we see in terms of health. If you go back and you look at people who were having illnesses, a century ago, a lot of things that we suffer with today are not things that they had. And a lot of it comes from the diet. And a huge part of the diet is the sugar. And particularly we're talking about those refined, high concentration carbs. And we can get into a whole lot on just sugar. Hey, we've come up with a couple of topics tonight for shows. So I like that. All right. Let's see. Is food labeled organic more nutritious?
I think the simple answer is going to be yes. Organic simply means that there's not a lot of pesticides and things that have been shown to have ill effects on your body. So the simple answer is going to be yes.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, I think I see a couple of other people here, and let's see if we can grab some of their questions. Hey, Lauren, how are you? She says, I have been on and listening to Dr. C's Truths tonight. Great tips this evening. I was having issues with comments displaying. Well, we're glad that you were finally able to get on. We're always excited when you're here. Let's see. Aldo Paju says, does mental health affect our diet? Does mental health affect our diet? And I'm going to answer what I think you're asking. So the fact that someone has a mental health issue does not necessarily affect the types of food always that they need to eat. Now, there are special diets for special conditions that are out there, but having a generally healthy diet, right? Well-balanced diet. And some people think that we can't do that in our current society, but having a well-balanced diet is appropriate for most people. But there are some specific things that psychiatrists, psychologists may say that a particular person may need to avoid. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question.
Well, it's interesting. I would have turned the question around a little bit. That's
okay.
And this is the beauty of having different people answering questions. I would have turned the question around and asked, does the diet affect your mental health?
I love that question.
Right. And so the answer to that is yes. If you're not eating foods that are nutritious and you're struggling with stress management, depression, anxiety, what the types of foods you're feeding your body definitely will impact your mental health.
Okay. Yep, definitely. All right. Let's see. Maria Lauren Hicks, good to see you tonight. Aldo Paju, hello. Natalie, what's up, yo guys? That's my sister right there. What's up, Natalie? Says sugar ages the body. I love it. Definitely. Okay, and then hello. Says hi, love. Here's an interesting one. How often should one exercise per week?
I don't think there is any set frequency. The experts recommend at least 150 minutes of exercise per week. So 5 days a week, 30 minutes. But I think you exercise at a frequency that's comfortable for you. Frequency where you feel good, but that you also feel challenged. And it depends on what you're trying to accomplish with the exercise.
For sure, for sure. And of course, guys, as always, right, if you are embarking on a lifestyle program, okay, that's what we're talking about tonight, make sure that you are in contact with your healthcare provider. Make sure that you have someone who's walking along with you, whether it's coaching, Dr. Charmaine Wood, MD, Dwayne Wood, MD, any of those things, but make sure that you are not out there trying to do this alone. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't get up and walk down the block, right? So don't say, well, I don't have a coach, I don't have a physician, so I'm not going to do anything. You can do that, but make sure that you are also working in conjunction with them, particularly if you are on medication that can be affected by what you do. Okay.
And I wouldn't go from not exercising at all to trying to, do something extremely strenuous. You may need physician clearance, like Dr. Wood has mentioned, and take it slow, right? Rome wasn't built in a day, so take it nice and slow, and build up your endurance, build up your reps. So follow a stepwise approach.
For sure. Slow and steady gets the job done.
And avoid any injuries.
And then let's see. Easy Rider says, I feel worse whenever I eat high sugar foods, and usually those are always impulse foods. Now, I'm gonna put you on the spot here, and I know we've talked, right, about the fact that when we eat high sugar concentrated foods and some other things, then we don't feel as well, and which is what Easy Rider is saying. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So, when you eat foods that are high sugar content, or foods that are rich and dense, it takes your body's lot more energy to digest those foods, and that's in part why we feel sluggish. Also, when we feel sluggish when we finish eating, also because we're not taking the time to slow down and enjoy the foods that we eat, we end up overeating, right? And so we move past the point where the food is satisfying, and we just keep eating and eating, because there are certain foods that create what's called over desire in our bodies, and those sugary foods do so. And so you keep eating and eating past the point of satiety, and then you get to a point of what I would call diminishing returns.
Wow.
I hope that answers.
I think it does. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't you take a minute to talk about your program again? And I'm going to bring up your website, and just tell us again how someone can get to you, what you do, and then we move on.
All right. So before I do that, can I just, as we're wrapping up the conversation about what you need to know before your next diet, I just want to encourage people that this truly is a journey, right? And when you're on a journey, you're going to plan for things. You want to set realistic expectations. You want to expect the unexpected, because things happen. And this is a journey where you're going to be tweaking, and you're going to be making some changes. And so you have to be open, and you have to be flexible, right? Sometimes you get off track. So have a plan for getting back on track. That's going to be important. Understand that the learning, right, and the process of you're actually becoming someone different. You're becoming a new person. That's going to take time. So you want to decide who you want to become. And that is the beauty of this journey. It's not just the reaching the goal, as we've talked about before, but it's what happens in the destination. So you're not going to fail unless you give up. And finally, I would say just trust the process, right? Trust the process. Have the confidence that this is something you can figure out as long as you stay the course. And this is a journey that I help my clients on. I help to be their guide. They're doing all the hard work, and I'm guiding them. And once again, I can be found at Charmaine Wood MD. That's the website. There is a calendar there. Anyone who's interested, you just sign up and schedule a complimentary call. And we go through just some strategies to help you accomplish your goals. Like I said, just helping you prioritize yourself so that you can have that permanent weight loss, that you can create the life and the body that you've been wanting. So Charmaine Wood MD is where I can be found. We mentioned the exercise, Let's Go Deep, people finding their why. So I would encourage you all as a first step on this journey, right? If you want to, that's something that you can do tonight or over the next couple of days. Just spend some time exploring your why. And don't just stop with the first thing that comes to your mind, but try and go a little bit deeper. It's one of the exercises I do with my clients, and it really is moving to see them uncover the true reasons why they want to create a different life for themselves.
Awesome. Well, as always, thank you for joining us. Thank you for all of those pearls that you gave us tonight, and for being here. We look forward to seeing you at our future shows.
Oh, well, it's always a pleasure. I've enjoyed the conversation, and I'm glad you found it valuable.
Awesome. All right, well, guys, as you heard, right? So what do you need to know before you start your next diet? Number one, it is a lifestyle change, right? So we want to stop dieting. We want to make lifestyle changes. We want to make sure that we know that we are well worth the effort. We're worth it, right? We're worth the investment. We're worth the time. We're worth the energy. And then we've got to clean up our environment, beginning with starting internally and then around us, making sure that we're cleaning up some of the things that may cause us to stumble, right? Maybe some people that we don't need to be talking to about our journey because they're not supportive. Getting a support structure around yourself so that we can be successful in what we do. I'm so excited that you are here, that you came tonight. Glad that you are in our community, that you are interacting with us. Please, once again, go to our websites and to our social media platforms to find out more about us. And we will love to have you back to see us at our next visit. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood, educating, empowering, and encouraging you to take charge of your life and your health, and to live a healthy, fulfilling life. Let's get some music, and we'll see you at the next show.